I'll call to order the Oak Creek Plan Commission meeting, May 13th, 2025. Roll call, please.
Balch here.
Pshinsky here.
Lorick here.
Bukavich here.
Kuzikowski here.
Donnie here.
Seifert here.
Chandler here.
Thank you. We will go on to the approval of minutes of April 22nd, 2025. I'll give everybody a moment or two to take a look at that. Satisfied? There's no errors, omissions, corrections, or discussion? Motion.
Seifert moves to approve the minutes of April 22nd, 2025.
Kuzikowski goes second.
Roll call, beginning with Steve.
Balch aye.
Pshinsky, aye.
Lorick, aye.
Bukavich, aye.
Kuzikowski, aye. Donnie, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, aye.
Item 4, it's to review a request to rezone the property located at 8355 South Howell Avenue from B2 Community Business District to B4 General Business District. Todd.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this property, which is on South Howell, is just south of South Forest Hill Road. It is currently undeveloped and zoned B2 Community Business District. The future land use within our comp plan designates this property for commercial use. And the applicant is here to petition for a rezoning from the B2 Business District, Community Business District to the B4 General Business District. A little bit of an overview of the B2 district. Its intent is to provide for a range of retail and services that are primarily serving the adjacent residential neighborhoods. So like your community little neighborhood store. As we know, this property is on a state highway, as Howell is. And so they are looking to rezone the property again to the B4 General Business District, which is intended more for the businesses and services which will be located along a highway and really reach out to a further than just the neighborhood. Also, I should note that this B4 does allow for a conditional use for a drive-through, which is not permitted as a conditional use in the B2 district. And so that kind of leads into the reason as to why they're pursuing this rezone. In front of you have a concept plan here for the site. As you can see, they're looking to build a little over 6,000 square foot building, partially retail, and then also have a coffee shop with that, hoping to have the drive-through, again, part of the reason for the rezoning. So the next steps, if this were to have the rezoning, next steps, of course, would be a conditional use for the drive-through, and then eventually a site plan and architectural review further down the road. So the applicant is here if you have any questions. Otherwise, the suggested motion is up on the screen for you.
All right, thank you, Todd. Before I go to the commission, I'll ask if the applicant wants to come up, say a few words about anything that's been submitted, or just wait on questions from the council. Wonderful, ma'am. We'll need your name and address for the minutes, please.
My name's Catherine Smith. I'm with WMG, the developer for the site. Our address is 270 West Plant Street, Winter Garden, Florida, 34787. We're here to request the rezone to allow the drive-through use, and happy to answer any of your questions that you may have.
Okay, stand by. I just recommend you don't go real far. Let's start on my far right, Commissioner Chandler. And you can use that microphone. You can sit down and make yourself comfortable, ma'am.
No questions, thank you.
Okay, Fred.
No questions at this time.
No questions.
You're making a liar out of me. Chris?
Well, this is in my district, and I haven't gotten any calls for or against it, so no questions.
Greg?
No issues with the rezone. I mean, it's an appropriate use there on Howell. I know we're not here for site plan and this is conceptual, but since it's in the packet, I'm going to comment on it real quick. Not necessarily a huge fan that the drive-through is kind of front and center facing Howell. Something to maybe keep in mind. Again, don't know what the building looks like, don't know how that'll work, but seeing all the cars lined up on the side of a building facing Howell is not a fan of. But as for the rezone, I have no issue. Thanks.
Ashley?
No questions, thank you.
Steve?
No questions.
And Chris? Oh, let the records note, Commissioner Hannah is in attendance. Christine?
No questions, thank you.
Okay. No, Greg kind of covered it. I mean, if you take a look at kind of Howell Avenue from Drexel to basically Forest Hill, those buildings fronting Howell Avenue do not have the drive-through presence like that. But we're not here to discuss that, and as Greg said, I think his point was well taken, and I want to stick to the agenda. So as for a rezone, I do agree with the commissioners. I think it's an appropriate use. Todd, any comment from staff before we call for a motion?
No, I mean, we agreed, being that the site is right on state highway, I thought it was more appropriate for a wider range of uses as well that a B2 would offer, which again was just meant to be for like a neighborhood little shop. So,
Okay, great. If there's no further discussions or questions, we'll call for a motion.
Seibert moves that the Plan Commission recommends to the Common Council approval of a request to rezone the property located at 8355 South Howell Avenue from B2 Community Business District to B4 General Business District.
Will second.
Roll call, beginning with Ashley.
Chinsky, aye.
Lorick, aye.
David, aye.
Guzekowski, aye. Oldani, aye.
Seibert, aye.
Chandler, aye. Hannah, aye.
Balch, aye.
Okay, thank you very much. Item 5, review a preliminary subdivision plat for Almag Single Family Residential Subdivision, and this is intended to be located at 9025 South Nicholson Road. Todd?
thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, so this property does have a Nicholson address, but it's also located at the north end of East Arbor Creek Court, which is currently has a temporary cul-de-sac and is part of a previously platted subdivision to the south. The property is zoned RS3, which would lend to single-family residential homes. The proposal is for a 9-lot subdivision, 7 single-family lots along with 2 outlots. You should note that this is the condition on the photos that you see in front of you is what the condition of the lot at this time. So kind of an undeveloped lot. As I mentioned, you have 7 single-family lots circled around a cul-de-sac that will be a permanent cul-de-sac extending on Arbor Creek Court. Those lots will range from 10,500 square feet to 11,400 square feet. The overall density for the subdivision is 1.68 units per acre. So density, lot sizes, setbacks as shown, all meet requirement of that RS3 district. As I mentioned, there's 2 outlots included with the plat, one being a larger outlot 1 that is around the outer perimeter of the subdivision, which will be for, you'll have your stormwater management in there. There's currently wetlands, and pretty large easement to the east for transmission lines. Outlot 2 will be the center of the cul-de-sac, which will be landscaped and maintained by the HOA. As I mentioned with the landscaping, to make way for the development, they would be removing 4 trees that meet the requirement for preservation. And so they're proposing replacing those trees with 12 trees that would all be planted, around the site within that outlot 1. So they are meeting the requirements for the replacement. And as I mentioned, landscaping in the cul-de-sac will have a combination of shrubs and grasses and perennials that again will be maintained by the HOA. And they also show at the terminal end of the cul-de-sac at the north end, there will be one street light that will meet city specs on street lights and matching those with the other subdivision. Again, I believe the applicant is here, and so to answer questions. Otherwise, I have the suggested motion up on the screen for you.
Okay. Applicant like to say anything or wait on questions? Okay, he's indicated he'll wait if he has any questions. We'll start from my left. Commissioner Hanna.
I have no questions so far.
Steve?
No questions.
Ashley?
Just a few comments. So this layout is a really great improvement from what had been submitted previously for this area. Next steps, as the designer is aware, if this is approved tonight, the stormwater management plan is kind of next step to be reviewed. Also entering into a development agreement for all the public infrastructure. And then we'll complete our final plan review at that time as well. Thank you.
Greg?
So is this a separate subdivision from the one that it's kind of attaching to? We're coming off of Arbor Creek Court?
Yeah, this would be a separate subdivision.
Okay. And I guess I'm just looking at kind of continuity in the area. Obviously, with density, they need to get an appropriate use of the land and get the homes in. It looks like the lots are smaller than the adjacent ones. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe the lots in the other subdivision, they might be a little bit larger
Okay.
than this one. More, maybe closer to a half acre.
And I'm just looking at the aerial
No,
photo. It does
15.
look like there's another cul-de-sac where the homes do look probably similar to what this design would be. So yeah, I guess I don't have really an issue with that. That'll be a separate association then? Just those 7 homes will
I believe so,
maintain
yes. Yeah.
median?
Yeah, there'll be a separate stormwater maintenance agreement that will just strictly be for those 7 lots there, whereas Eastbrook Preserve has their existing stormwater maintenance agreement for their infrastructure.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, Chris?
My question was just asked. Thank you. I'm good.
Okay, Don?
I have no questions.
Fred?
Yeah, I just have a question about some of the trees that are on that property. Is it possible to salvage any of those trees, or are they all coming down?
Name and address, please.
I'm Justin Johnson with Pinnacle Engineering Group, 2725 Watertown Road in Brookfield. Yeah, there are a number of trees on that property. Most of them are either past their prime or in pretty bad shape. So most of what's in there is coming down because it is so tight. We're saving, I think maybe 6 or 7 trees that are in good shape and that are ones that we'd want to save, and we are saving those. But there's 4 that we're taking down that are in good shape, and we're replacing. So pretty tight space we're working in there, so it does make it difficult to save anything within the limits of the development area. Perimeter, though, we are saving
Yeah.
some trees.
But most of that is kind of scrub oak and brush, and,
Right, yeah, there's some garbage stuff in there for sure.
right? Okay, thank you.
Aussie?
I do have a couple questions. So with this particular subdivision being close to the existing subdivision, is traffic going to flow from this new subdivision through the existing one?
Correct, yeah. Right now, there's a temporary cul-de-sac at the end of the existing subdivision. We're connecting to that and basically making that a permanent cul-de-sac extended 100 feet or 150 feet, up into our property. So we're lengthening a road by about 150 feet, and the result will be a permanent cul-de-sac. You'll have to enter this from the existing subdivision.
And so with the roads that are identified for the new subdivision, so who's responsible for keeping those roads? Is it the HOA? Is it the other subdivision? Is it the city?
They'll be public streets.
They're
so
public streets, okay. Thank you.
Okay. Just a little history of this, when we approved it, we came through a number of times with the road patterns and everything. And that was always kind of an outlet to utilize that land. So I agree with Ashley. It's a pretty nice layout the way it worked out in the end, because we did that in 2 phases in Brook Preserve, if you remember that. Just a couple of questions. There are 3 affected neighbors there that abut that property. And I know you're doing the stormwater management, but is if you want to say something, sir, yeah, sure, because I'm wondering about that, and I'm sure they got some questions, because memory serves me, they were wondering about that when we originally put them in. There are 3 there, and we want to make sure that they're not affected downward from water flow, and our staff does a good job with it, but I would like to hear the neighbor's concern if he has a question. Come on up, sir. Yeah, name and address, please.
Randall Brandt, 1546 East Arbor Creek Drive. I am lot 57, which is the one that is directly on the cul-de-sac. So that cul-de-sac is actually a temporary cul-de-sac, which we own. So I have a few questions. I can branch off of Fred's question as well, as to the tree preservation. There's a couple of them that are right along the lot line of those 3 homes. Specifically, one is 207, which is on there, which actually they say is on the other side, which is not, which is on our side of the lot line, and it's a pear tree. It's a sizable one, which I would really hate for them to cut down, and specifically, it's ours, but it's listed as being on the other side of the lot line, sorry, but it's not. And I think there's maybe one other pine tree, but to preserve what we can over there would be great. We're gonna lose a lot of apple trees. There's a lot of apple trees towards the east over there. I don't know what has to come out for as far as the water retention pond and things of that nature, but maybe they all have to go, I don't know. But those are a lot of apple trees within there. That was one of the questions. And as far as the cul-de-sac is concerned, it's listed on your plan as being removed, but who's responsible for taking all the stone out, grading it, putting grass in there, and planting the trees on the city like there are along the rest of the site? Who's responsible for doing that? Is that you guys, or is that the city? Right, because that's not stipulated, I don't think, in your plan, who's going to do that or what's going to be done. That would be removed and replaced with grass?
That would be.
Right.
Put curb in.
Right. I believe the city puts trees like every 15 feet or so, or 20 feet or whatever it is. That would probably require a few more. I don't know if you guys would do that or if the city would do that.
It would,
Part of the city's review.
it would be probably in the development agreement, correct?
Yes, that's correct. Yep, yeah, so trees would be, it'd be a responsibility of the developer to purchase them and essentially pay for them, but the city would do the installation of them.
Okay, so that would be part of this plan to keep that.
In a coming step.
Yeah.
Right now, we're just,
Right, yeah, it's just my concern that it's not stipulated anywhere, and then later on down the line, you say, well, we're not paying for that.
that would come into full development agreement.
So it is, yeah. So in the development agreement, there's the spacing requirement, there's the dollar amount requirement per the developer. So typically that isn't provided on their roadway plans, but it
Right.
is included in the development agreement as a requirement.
Okay, because I know when we built the lot, we had to pay X amount of dollars for every tree that we put on there, and I have quite a few along that whole side there. So, And I think you had mentioned that they had talked about maybe possible, somebody mentioned that they were supposed to have a curb and a sidewalk going on both sides. We're supposed to at some point, but I'm hoping that would
I
never
don't
happen.
think sidewalks exist in that subdivision. So
They
I,
exist along one side of the road, like through the main thoroughfare on Arbor Creek Drive, and then on each of the offshoot cul-de-sacs, they do not exist on Eastbrook Drive, so that is why they are not going to be a requirement on this Almeg.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and also, I don't know, this is probably for engineering, right? Well, they have that cul-de-sac that goes way in. Will they put that communication box? The thing, it's probably this tall and this, 2 feet square and about this tall. When the road does go through, that thing will be 27 feet into our lot line. Would they move that to a lot line?
So I guess we'd have to take a look to see where it's at, to see if it's currently in a utility easement or where that's located and how that does fall with that proposed layout. So it's
You
something we
usually
can
put them
look
on a
at.
lot line, correct?
Typically, they're on lot lines within easements. So that's typically,
Right.
so I guess we'd have to look at the documentation to see if it's in an easement, where that is located, and if it is impacted by their proposed layout. So it's something we'd have to look into a little bit further.
And one other thing is the house and barn and everything that used to be in there, they used to access that home off of Nicholson Avenue. Is it possible that construction traffic uses that road that's there? Instead of bringing dump trucks and all their equipment, stone trucks and everything down our brand-new road, can they use that as a temporary construction road instead of our subdivision that's finished?
That's a consideration. We can look into that and kind of see. Yeah, I guess
'cause eventually there'll be no entrance from there.
Correct. Yeah, eventually there will not be, but
Eventually,
yeah, there
right.
is that existing pavement that's currently there, so it's something we could definitely
Right,
look
right.
into. Yeah, that's
The
not a bad
initial,
idea.
all their heavy equipment that digs for sewers and everything, bringing that through there, and it'd be nice if they would be able to use that. I think that was, and you have a drainage plan that would not use our existing subdivisions drainage plan, correct? They would use their own retention ponds that would not flow into our lots?
Correct. They will be required to manage their existing drainage with their proposed development.
Right, the side lot on the side of mine would not drain into my property, because I kind of have a swale that's in the back of ours
Yeah, I
that goes into
believe-
our own.
Yeah, and I believe that, yes, you do have a drainage easement located along
Right.
that property line, so
They
it's not
can't
something.
use that. It would go somewhere, their side lot, actually, for that house would go different direction.
Correct. Yeah, they will be required to manage their own
Okay,
drainage on site.
all right, that should cover my questions, thank you.
Then one last question, if, for commissioners or Todd, if you go to that location map, that one right there, if you take a look at that cul-de-sac, that temporary cul-de-sac, it encroaches on that property to the east. Do they get, that's yours?
Yeah, that's what we've been,
He'll get that back?
yeah, that was the discussion we were having as far, he was
Okay.
asking what happens to that, and they were stating that it would be restored, that a curb would be put in and grass put in. So that's what that was
Okay.
we were discussing previously.
Currently, it's a temporary easement, so that's still his property, which we have that temporary easement on, so that temporary easement would go away. And then the
Great
pavement would be
appreciate getting
removed.
his yard whole. With that, I don't have any other questions, I guess. So, is there any other questions or discussions that came up? Okay, seeing none, motion on 5.
Oldani moves that the Plan Commission approves the preliminary subdivision plat for the Almeg subdivision submitted by Ervig Heizeg, Almeg LLC for the property at 9025 South Nicholson Road with the following conditions. That all relevant code requirements remain in effect, that all revisions to the plat are submitted to the Department of Community Development prior to submission of permit applications, that all required development and stormwater agreements and land use building permits are coordinated with the engineering department, that all water and sewer utility connections are coordinated with the Oak Creek Water and Sewer Utility, that all reviewing agency comments, if any, are incorporated as required.
York seconds.
Roll call, beginning with Greg. Is that Greg? Yes.
Lorick, aye.
Davich, aye.
Guzekowski, no.
Oldani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, aye.
Hannah, aye.
Balch, aye.
Ripchinsky, aye.
Okay, motion carries. We'll move on to item 6, and it's consideration of a rezone of the property located at 6840 South 27th Street from B2 Community Business District to B4 General Business District. Todd?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, this is a developed lot on South 27th Street, currently occupied by Melrose Restaurant. As you note, it's zoned B2 Community Business District. Future comp plan, the use is designated as commercial here. And again, they're looking to rezone to a B4 General Business District. As I noted before, that B2 district is supposed to be for businesses that are serving the adjacent residential neighborhoods. This is on 27th Street Highway. So they are looking to rezone to the B4. Again, also looking to for the conditional use option and possibility of having a drive-through, as they are considering with their current restaurant to add a drive-through on the rear of the building or the east facade of the building, and talked about adding a internally adding a coffee shop that would be drive-through service included in that. So I believe the applicant's here as well to answer any questions. Otherwise, we have the suggested motion up on the screen for you.
Okay. Applicant, would you like to say anything or just wait on questions? Okay, very well. Commissioner Chandler, you want to start?
Sure. No questions, thank you.
Fred?
No questions at this time.
Don?
No questions.
Chris?
No questions.
Greg?
Not necessarily on the rezone, but I understand that you're kind of doing this to do the conditional use for a drive-through. Are you looking to have internal customers to that coffee shop as well, or just drive-through?
You'll have to come up to the podium and we'll need your name and address, sir.
Ali Hamed, 2310 East Forest Hill Avenue, Oak Creek, Wisconsin.
So it'll be internal as well, coffee
Yes.
shop?
Yes.
It's same owners as Melrose?
No, I'm gonna be the new owner
Oh,
for the
okay.
whole. I'm just waiting to close on the.
Sure. Same hours as Melrose?
No, actually, it used to be a 24-hour restaurant, so we're looking to do maybe 7 to midnight. Restaurant by itself is not doing no good, so I'm trying. I remove the bar. I'm gonna get rid of the liquor license.
Okay.
So I'm gonna replace that part with a specialty coffee.
Okay. And then are you affiliated with Melrose at all?
Yes.
So I see the traffic flow on this proposed drive-through just has in and out to Menards. I know you get a lot of drive-through with Menards, and
Yeah.
there's a chain fence there. Is that?
The chain fence, this between me and them, I already talked to the managers over there, because there is in the back, there is a piece of land, and the previous owners, he never did anything about it. So we talked about it. We tried to do some maybe seating area for the people just to sit, clean it and fix it.
Okay. Yeah, but I have no problem with the rezone.
Thank you.
Yeah. Ashley?
No questions, thank you.
Steve?
No questions.
And Christine?
No question, thank you.
I in particular don't have anything on the rezone. Greg alluded to the traffic patterns in that parking lot, and that could be a little chaotic. Just looking at the way the arrows go. Being kind of familiar with the site as well. I think, I'm not sure, I know fire's not here tonight, but that gate was put up that way. Reason that the connectivity happened, but I don't know what it is. A little before my time, but sticking to the agenda, rezone, I don't have any particular problems. It's just we're always challenged with drive-throughs for safety. particularly as they're walking. You know, there's a lot of parking to the south of you. Getting off my own agenda, getting off my own rules. But anyways, we'll have to work through that. Okay? All right, there's no further discussion, questions? Motion.
York moves to recommend to the Common Council approval of a request to rezone 6840 South 27th Street from B2 Community Business District to B4 General Business District.
Guzekowski, a second.
Roll call, beginning with Chris.
Guzekowski, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, aye.
Hannah, I.
Bouch, aye.
Chinsky, aye.
Lorik, aye.
Lukevich, aye. Chris started. Okay, good luck, sir. We'll get us to item 7, and that is review site and related plans for construction of fencing at Kalick Building Services, an existing building at 3834 East Putes. Todd.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. You may recall maybe a couple months ago, the applicant came before you to ask for conditional use for the outdoor storage of the shipping containers. The conditions for approval on those outdoor storage was to install a fence and also some landscaping along Putes for screening. So now they're back for the next step, which is getting approval for the site plan for that fence. And you'll remember this site plan, which is exactly the same as what they showed with their conditional use. The fences running in parallel with Putes on either side of the building, still showing the shrubs along the street as well to add additional screening. Still showing that fence as being a 6-foot high composite fence with steel posts, kind of an idea what they'll look like here, with gates obviously on either side as well. And one here. The applicant is here for any questions. Otherwise, the suggested motion is up on the screen for you.
Would you like to do any questions or wait? Okay. Commissioner Hannah?
I don't have any question. I drive by this area quite a lot, and it's just a funny comment when I get by there, especially during the weekend. There's a couple of turkeys standing by this area, knocking on the door. So I think they just see the reflection and think that someone else is there. So I know exactly this place. No, but I have no questions.
Steve?
Nothing. It's a nice looking fence. No questions.
Ashley?
No questions.
Greg?
No questions.
Chris?
Nice upgrade, no questions.
Don?
No questions.
Brad?
No questions.
And Chauncey?
No questions, thank you.
No, I agree. Nice looking fence. Just dumpsters. Are the dumpsters located behind the fence? Okay, so he's indicated dumpsters are behind the fence. That takes care of screening. Perfect. I know it's a work in progress there. Hopefully the other property, you start to make some strides with the county and it all goes well. So there's no further questions or discussion. Motion, please.
York moves to approve site and related plans for construction of fencing at Kalick Building Services, an existing business located at 3834 East Putes Road, with the following condition: that all relevant code requirements remain in effect.
Guzekowski, a second.
Roll call, beginning with Fred.
Seifert, aye.
Chandler, aye.
Hannah, I.
Bouch, aye.
Chinsky, aye.
Lorik, aye.
Gavich, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Oldani, aye.
And then we have adjournment. Don't really have any messages. Our farmers market has opened for the season, so if you haven't checked it out, maybe this weekend is your chance. Summer's coming pretty soon, folks. So there's no further business. Motion for adjournment.
Seifert moves for adjournment at, what is it, 6:38?
Lorik seconds.
Roll call, beginning with Chauncey.
Chandler, aye.
Hannah, I.
Bouch, aye.
Chinsky, aye.
Lorik, aye.
Gavich, aye.
Guzekowski, aye.
Oldani, aye.
Seifert, aye.